Blue and red lights sliced through the quiet evening. A black woman sat frozen in her sleek black SUV, hands gripping the steering wheel as a police cruiser screeched to a stop behind her. The officer's voice blared through the loudspeaker, sharp, commanding, suspicious. He claimed the vehicle she was driving was reported stolen. She blinked, stunned. That couldn't be right. It was her car. Her name on the title, her payments on time, her record spotless. But as he approached, hand hovering near his weapon, she realized this wasn't about the car. It was about her. What happens when the people sworn to protect you see you as a threat before they see your humanity? Watch until the end. Wait a second. Tell us where you're watching from in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe for more powerful stories like this. Tanya Mitchell was no stranger to long nights. As a Homeland Security agent, her days often ended past sunset, filled with briefings, reports, and the unending weight of national security work. She was good at her job, calm under pressure, meticulous and fiercely professional. That evening, she'd left the federal building just after 9. The Washington, D.C. streets quiet under a drizzling sky. She slid into her SUV, exhausted but content. Home was 20 minutes away, her favorite playlist humming softly through the speakers. It was the kind of peace that comes after a hard day's work, the feeling of safety in a familiar routine. But peace has a fragile edge. As she waited at a red light near DuPont Circle, headlights flared in her mirror, too close, too bright. Then the sirens came. She frowned, easing to the curb. It could be just routine. Maybe. What she didn't know was that this stop would unravel everything she thought she knew about justice, respect, and what her badge truly meant. The rain tapped against her windshield as the officer stepped out, his flashlight cutting across her face like an interrogation beam. Tanya rolled down her window, trying to stay calm, every movement deliberate. Her training told her what to do. Hands visible, voice steady. "License and registration," he said flatly, his eyes scanning the car instead of her. His hand rested close to his holster, his tone laced with authority that felt more like accusation. She handed over the documents. "Is there a problem, officer?" He looked at her license, then back at her face. Something changed. A flicker of suspicion turned sharp. "This vehicle came up as stolen." The words hit her like ice. "That's impossible," she managed, pulse quickening. He ignored her. Another squad car pulled up. A second officer approached, whispering something. Tanya caught pieces of it. Female suspect. Possible match. Her chest tightened. She'd been profiled before, in airports and stores, small humiliations she brushed off to survive. But this was different. This was the kind of misunderstanding that could spiral into tragedy. She thought about her badge, tucked inside her purse, the symbol of her service, her integrity. Should she show it? Would it help, or would it escalate things? "Step out of the vehicle," the officer ordered. Her hands trembled as she unbuckled her seatbelt. Rain soaked her blazer as she stepped into the flashing chaos of blue light. Neighbors' blinds flicked open. Phones appeared in the shadows. The officer's voice grew harsher. "Hands where I can see them," her voice quivered. "Officer, I work for the Department of Homeland Security." He didn't even blink. "You can explain that downtown." Something inside her snapped. The years of professionalism, the patience, the endless proving of her worth, all of it straining against the humiliation of being treated like a criminal for simply existing. She reached into her purse, slowly, deliberately. The officers tensed, hands twitching near their weapons, and then she held it up, her federal badge gleaming in the rain. The world seemed to freeze. The rain, the lights, the murmurs, all suspended in a tense silence. The officer stared at the badge in her hand, confusion flickering across his face. Then disbelief. Then shame. This "This is you?" he stammered. Her voice was steady now, cold with controlled fury. "Yes, Special Agent Tanya Mitchell. And you just accused a federal officer of stealing her own car." He stepped back, lowering his flashlight, but the damage was already done. The crowd had gathered, recording every second. Tanya could feel the weight of their lenses, not as protection, but as proof. Proof that this could happen to anyone, no matter how high they climbed, how many credentials they carried, or how spotless their record was. Her badge hadn't shielded her. Not from this. Not from being seen first as a suspect, and only second as a human being. The irony cut deeper than the humiliation ever could. The department later issued an apology, a misunderstanding, they called it. But Tanya knew better. Misunderstandings didn't come with drawn weapons and trembling fear. They came from assumptions, from years of conditioning that painted her skin as a warning sign. She returned to work the next day, chin high, but something inside her had shifted. She carried her badge differently now, not as armor, but as a reminder. A reminder that no title, no achievement, no rank could protect her from prejudice that runs bone deep in the system. She began speaking out, not as a victim, but as a witness. Her story spread through newsrooms and training halls, challenging the very people she once called colleagues. And somewhere in that quiet courage, she found strength. Because sometimes, the most powerful badge isn't the one made of metal. It's the truth you refuse to silence. How many more times will this happen before respect stops depending on the color of someone's skin? Where are you watching from? And what would you have done if this were you? Take care.